Yeah, no, I think it's definitely much cooler
Than
this time
last
around.
time.
Yeah.
It's a little warm still.
Oh, but I'm in.
You're not sweating this
No,
time.
I am perfectly fine. I'm good. I just took a drive. So here's a couple things that we're learning, because this is a new community, and the thing that I've never realized. Oh, Benji's laying. He loves laying in the sun. Um,
What do
I
you?
didn't realize with Florida, which you knew growing up here, that most places, not all, but it feels like most, is most the fair thing to say about the communities that you drive into a community. Some have a security guard, others just have like, you know, Sunshine
Sure.
Bay
I mean, where
Resort
I
or
grew
whatever.
up, there are a lot of communities
Yeah.
within the area. Some have gates, some you just drive through, but yes.
But like in LA, you don't. It's neighborhoods. In
No.
Ohio,
Yeah.
you just
Oh,
you just
that's
live on a
true.
street. You're like on
That's
East
true.
42nd, and you drive, and you're like, oh, here's the house. In
Yeah.
Florida, it seems like everything is the highways are super wide. It's very clean. It's very
Mm-hmm.
wide. It's very green, and then you see these big rock carvings out with little petunias or
Yeah.
flowers around. It's always like
Oh, yeah.
willow crest or something like
There's
that, and you
something
drive.
preserve.
Yes, we saw a few of those. So we're getting used to what it's like to be in a community, and then in this particular house, they have an HOA where one of the owners of the house was sharing with me that the HOA is $500 a month, which is expensive, but they mow your lawn, they clean your pool, and the internet and cable is included. So because we're Airbnb, we don't have to pay that. That's all
Right.
included. But I actually think that's pretty fair.
For
And I
a
think
house this size.
yeah, and there's patrol cars that go around, so it feels super safe. And but my long-winded thing of explaining these kind of communities, and we'll show you a lot in the future here too. We're still just gathering. I feel like we still haven't had a second. We're trying to
Yeah.
learn everything and get accustomed, but we'll show you the whole area. They also, I went out on the Sunday that we arrived. We got here late Saturday night. That Sunday, October 4th, I went out to the front yard, and I'm looking around on the house. I'm looking outside. I'm like, where's the mailbox?
Yeah.
Because we have very, very important papers that we forwarded that we needed. And we timed it and we said, oh, it should be here around then. But there's no mailbox. It's like, what the heck? So we ended up texting the owners and they're like, oh, there's a mail room. But unfortunately, we haven't received mail here in a year and we don't know where the key is. And I was like, well, can you please find the key? Because we have important papers that cannot be lost. It would just be a nightmare to have to
Yeah.
call all these different places. And it's not like a bank statement. It was like important stuff. And they were searching around, and it took like 5 days. And I feel bad because I was a little impatient, but I was also
You were
like, I
pretty
really
good.
needed it.
Yeah.
And I just wanted like to figure it out. And they found the key. They brought it over on Thursday. Were super nice, super helpful, and it works. Everything's good. Filled out the new customer form, and then we get an email from the post office that the forwarding mail has now kicked in and will be arriving today. So all this panic for
can't
5
make it
days, and then it's coming on Friday. But I was driving out this morning because I wanted to make sure that we put Tabitha Smith on the paper in the mailbox. Like I might even like have a few people outside with signs going, Tabitha Smith is now here till
no.
November 30th. Is that worth the investment?
We're not going to do that.
Okay.
Don't think it's needed.
Okay. So, but that's what I was just doing, driving around the community and looking for the hut.
Looking for the hut, but you finally found the hut because we walked yesterday to the mail hut.
Yes.
It's a beautiful walk around here in this neighborhood.
So nice.
So nice. So much space. And just nice to get fresh air because I feel like when we were walking back in LA, obviously there's more people, it's more populated and narrow, and you're kind of stressed out because you're like, I need my mask. Oh my gosh. Here, there's like no one really around, and if they are, they're far enough away that
Oh yeah.
you're like,
yeah.
Oh hey.
Exactly.
You know, but that was really nice. And then so today you drove there, but you said you couldn't find it at first. We went there yesterday.
Well, we were walking, but I was just so confused because there's one hut that looks like a mail room, but it's just a bathroom because there's a golf course.
That's right.
And so I was like, oh, did we cross the bridge? But did we make a right after we found the mail hut and just wanted more steps and exercise, or was it there? So I drove around. It was in plain sight. I just, for some reason, didn't see it because I'm still like fascinated with all the homes in this area. I'm like looking around.
Beautiful.
There's one builder who's responsible for everything in this area. So they build one house at a time or two at a time, and there's two being built. But there's a lot of open lots and then all these just unique, like massive homes. It's really cool to see. And it's just very inspiring to drive around and to just look at these houses. And the number one thing you always think of is like, what do you do?
Yeah. Well,
Like,
a
what
lot
do you
of
do for a
people, these
living?
are their vacation homes. That's kind of what we found out from the owner of this house.
Oh yeah,
Generally your second home. So we're like, what do you do?
but really, what do you
Yeah.
do to have like some of the houses here are $2 million, $3 million. So if if you're looking at a mortgage on that, I mean, that would be, like $24,000 a month.
Yeah. It's insane.
So it's like, what do? You have to be, even if it's two doctors or lawyers or high paying jobs in one of those houses, I still think that's super super stressful. Even if doctors make 600 a piece, that's still like at the end of the day, like you're going to drop 24,000 on a home. What about the maintenance and the upkeep and the property tax and all of that? So it has to be people who own businesses, who are investors, who are multi-millionaires.
Definitely.
And you can see that because there's Maseratis, like I saw Ferrari, we saw Lambo. So it's like really inspiring. And that was kind of one of the things that we wanted when we were looking around. We ended up getting a almost 50% off deal because of the way it worked with Airbnb. So we got a sick deal, and we looked around many different areas. But we were kind of going back and forth of, do you want to save an extra $1,000 a month and get a reasonable place in just like a normal neighborhood, or do we want to use this opportunity to have a little like retreat vacation kind of feel and for dream building, to be inspired
100%.
to walk these streets and go, you know what, like we got to keep working hard, and you almost can't be lazy when you're around homes like this because you're just like, we got to build.
Yeah.
And it feels really good.
It feels great. And I'm so happy we went with this route, that we got the place, because it really helped with that cross-country move. Because we were so excited to get here. And it's just really nice to kind of dig our roots into Florida and get comfortable and start a new schedule, but having a beautiful place to do it in. And we'll figure out where we're going to end up, but I'm really grateful. I think it really helped with our psyches of doing a cross-country move, because you don't realize sometimes too just how much that was on our bodies.
Yeah. But I did miss it because we talked about it last night, just the depletion of maybe serotonin or endorphins. And I was talking about, I wonder if it's equivalent to a wedding where but we were also coming off of seclusion in a very low light bunker type apartment where we didn't have access to pretty much anything in the sense of the wilderness or outdoors and sunlight. So we were kind of in this 6-month rut of, even with Instagram stories, I'm like, what are we really going to show? That we're having coffee and egg whites and then ordering food? What were you going to show? So we all of a sudden went from having to create our own adventures in this bunker, and we did a great job of that and had a great time. But then all of a sudden to do this road trip where it's just ridiculously easy just to show your life. And then you get to this house and we're like, whoa, we have all these new things to share. But you kind of go on this huge high, and now we're settling back into normalcy. But we felt a little weird because we were just on like such a high every day, going to bed, waking up, driving, stopping, doing the content. And then now we're finally here. So we went through this weird emotional, kind of roller coaster.
Of course.
But it's feeling good. And my biggest stress was the mail. And now that that's
You
figured
were
out.
so stressed out yesterday. Understandably so. But it's all figured out. It's all good. And I feel like we're finally just getting into the rhythm of being here, and the weather, and just everything has been so much fun and so nice.
Well, and then today too, we're gonna start exploring a little bit. We wanted to podcast first thing in the morning, but we're gonna start our exploring. We want to get into that in the podcast today. And then also, before I do the opening, I'm gonna remind you that there was a question that's asked about why we picked Orlando.
Okay.
And I just want to explore that with you a little bit, but I want to get into the episode first.
Get
and we'll do it, but I don't
on
want to
into it,
forget.
baby.
So, welcome everyone to the Freddie and Alyssa Show. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe, like, comment, all that fun YouTube stuff. If you're watching on Facebook, please like and follow. If you're listening on a platform like iTunes and you want to give us a 5-star review, that would be much appreciated. We've been putting out videos now for over 3 years. We're putting out a bunch of podcasts, and we're just enjoying ourselves. So if you want to subscribe and join that journey with us, that would be awesome. We appreciate all of you who've been on this journey. We've been looking back of how we kind of started our Freddie and Alyssa Show 2.0 when we moved into our new place, and we got our new equipment and the cameras, and we've just been having a blast. So thank you all. And I want to give a shout out to some of our new members. Let's see if I do good today. I think I'm going to. Deb Belk, Julie Elbert, Nikki Newman, Vito La Sorenza, Linda Thompson, Mary Beth Bozicki Weimer, Barbara Washer, Donna McDonald, Tanya Kim Bruce or Kime Bruce, and Dawn Daughtry, Rebecca Adair, and Sharon Leanne. Welcome. That was a lot. That was from the producers on Facebook, our members. If you're interested and you want some extra content, if you're just like, I can't get enough of Freddie and Alyssa here on YouTube or Facebook, I need to know more, become a member, and you get access to so many cool behind-the-scenes exclusive content. We go live on the last Sunday of every single month, and we can answer questions and have a good time. So you can click the join button on YouTube or support now on Facebook. They're both exactly the same thing. It's just whatever platform you prefer. And you can go to youtube.com/Freddie Alyssa/join, and we'll have all those links in the description if you want to learn more about that and you want to hop on the member train. Also, we haven't talked about this in a while. Real quick, we also have a merch store. We've been so busy with everything that we haven't promoted it. But if you want some really cool cloth masks to kind of, spruce up the look, we have a bunch of designs that we have. We've got a few T-shirts that are really great. And we got to find my 2 T-shirts. I know you brought yours, and mine are packed away. But we have a cool merch store, and also we are bookable on Cameo.com. If you want a shout-out video from me or Alyssa or both of us, go to Cameo.com/FMSmith319, and we will sing you happy birthday. I will juggle for you. I don't know.
He does a lot.
Be creative. Yeah, I like to have fun with it. So it's all on your creation, or it can be simple. It's just a shout out and say what's up. So whatever you'd like, we're bookable on Cameo. Yeah.
I think you nailed it. Speaking of merch store, I know I've talked to you about this, but I really want Freddie and Alyssa show mugs.
It's on the list.
It is on the list.
It's on the list.
We'll get there.
I do want to get the mugs, but we got to test the mugs out first to make sure they look good. So we really should get on it because it's about a 3-week process.
I know.
Because it would be nice because we have these bottles and everything kind of in the way.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of used to it at this point. I watch other podcasts and they have stuff all over the place.
Well, the Freddie and Alyssa show needs mugs, so let's do it. But
why'd we pick Orlando?
Why'd we pick Orlando?
Is that what you're gonna say?
Yeah. How do you know me so well?
So yeah, why did we look around? Why did we pick Orlando?
Well, we've always loved Florida. In 2016, we tried to move to South Florida, which is where I'm originally from. All my friends are there, and then my family moved up to New Jersey. So my mom, my dad, my sister moved up there.
About 8 years ago.
For
your dad's work.
Correct. And so it was just my friends down in South Florida, but we just always love that. We love the weather. I've never lived in a snowy climate. I don't think that's something you've ever really wanted to go back and do again. Not at least at this moment.
For me?
Yeah.
No, it's okay.
It's not
thank you.
For you.
No, thanks. Thank you, but no thank you.
And I don't know, definitely just a Florida baby. I love the ocean, all of that. So we lived there in 2016, and then we realized we really wanted to come here. Oh my gosh, Benji is so cute. You should get a video of him.
I will. Why? Yeah.
Superimpose it. So, yeah, we decided Orlando because my parents are actually going to be moving here in the beginning of 2021. So we're like, Orlando will be great. We can finally be next to family again. And we're really hoping to get my sister and her hubby and, of course, my niece here. So it's just a great area. We really started looking around and we're like, this looks awesome. And I've been to Orlando before. You have too, but I haven't really been able to explore.
Yeah, and I can't remember if you and I didn't we look around though for Airbnbs in Sarasota, Bradenton, Lakewood Ranch. We looked at Tampa, Orlando, West Palm. We even looked in Coral Springs, Parkland, Boca.
Benjamin,
Benji, come here.
This is his new thing.
Come on, come lay down.
Come here.
Come lay down.
He scratches to go out on that door, but we're gonna get into that door in a minute. What happened on the other side of that? But with Sarasota, we originally thought that we might go that way, but it's going to be too far if family is going to be
in Orlando.
So, yeah, it's been 15 years.
Well, temporarily too.
Yeah.
So I think within the next 3 to 5 years, we'll probably settle down before then.
Yeah.
But we got to look around, and we just decided let's Airbnb in this area because it's pretty central.
Yeah.
And then that's going to be our main focus, is looking for the perfect wedding venue and finding a place to rent/buy. But if you followed our journey for a while, we were really adamant about we're tired of like wasting money on renting, and the prices here to buy a home are so affordable. And we said, let's just do that. But then it just felt rushed, like planning a wedding, moving cross country, and then trying to buy a home all at once during everything that's going on in the world.
Imagine if we had to deal with it.
I couldn't do it. So we are going to rent. We're going to rent because we have our stuff shipped out here. And if we continue to Airbnb for too long, we're being charged storage. So we definitely want to find a place, and it's probably going to be in the Orlando area for at least a year. And then once all the family gets situated, then we can decide as a family, where do we want to purchase. But my heartstrings are pulling me towards the Sarasota, Bradenton, Lakewood Ranch area, just all from research. We haven't been there in person, so that could change it.
Sure.
But then here in Orlando, there's certain pockets that are phenomenal too that we could fall in love with. And then South Florida, we're familiar with. You have a lot of friends there, and I'm still open to that.
That's where my heart really is.
So it's going to be one of those places unless we discover something new. But we're in no hurry. That's the cool part. We're very fortunate right now to just be focusing on creating content, which can be done on the road, which can be done no matter where we're at. And I even talked to my agent yesterday or the day before, and he was even confirming too, just everything is on Zoom. And we've had friends that said they actually tested, or they had friends of friends. So a friend told us that one of their friends had actually tested for a show and booked it through Zoom.
Yep.
And so the fact that the industry has changed, I feel super comfortable being in Florida, interested in checking out the local market, because I know Florida has a market. I know that Atlanta has a market. And I'm also curious. I wonder if I'm a small fish in a ocean in LA. I wonder if I'm a fish in a pond in a Florida.
Small pond here.
Maybe. I might be underestimating it. I have never looked into it. I'm only assuming that LA is like the biggest hub. I just wonder my resume, if that will reflect differently in Florida.
Of course it will.
Than it would in LA or New York or Chicago. I don't know. I'm assuming, but we'll look into that.
I remember because I grew up in South Florida, and there would be shows like Dexter or South Beach. I'm sure even The Rock's latest show, Ballers. Everything when it's in Miami, they're always looking for local hires. So if they're going to have a guest star or whatever it might be, they're going to prefer local hire because they don't have to deal with flying them out, going back and forth, where they're going to stay. And I think that could be an upper hand, or for different films that are shooting here, they always love local hires. So,
well, imagine Zooming, booking it, and then driving 3 hours south and just shooting for 12 days.
Yep. And Florida is a really beautiful backdrop for TV and film. There's a lot, and there's just such a different energy. Like, especially with Dexter, it just, and you watched another show with, the guy from Friday Night Lights, Kyle. I love him.
Oh my
What show was that?
Bloodline.
Yes.
That was one of the best shows I have ever seen. It's old now. They did 3 seasons on Netflix, probably like 16, 17, and 18.
That's right.
But you're right. It was shot in the Keys, I believe.
It's such a character, Florida.
It was kind of like Outer Banks, how they did the Carolinas or somewhere. I don't know. I can't remember. But there was we're so used to seeing film in Chicago, LA, like areas. But when you start seeing certain, that's why I've always wanted to shoot a movie in Ashtabula, where I grew up. Yep. There's just a character there that's not, you don't see it often in film. And I think it brings an interesting perspective, and also how people live, how it's different, how, even how people dress. It's not, people just wear like normal like clothes.
It's
like they're
such
nice.
a vibe.
People are
its own.
chilling, and you go to it's just a different vibe, and I think a lot of the country can relate. So it's going to be interesting, but. As much as I did talk to my agent, I basically told him too that, I'm super interested, because I don't want to ever shut the door and miss a role of a lifetime. But I'm also was very fortunate. I had a great 15-year run. And I'm kind of just want to just take a deep breath for a minute and just not have that, so I'm going to be very picky. So, I'm not just going to take just something just to act,
Right.
if it's a rule of a lifetime, I'd be interested, but I really just want a little freedom to be flexible right now and focus on our future and getting a
Yeah.
house and talking about our family and really being able to continue growing the podcast, growing our YouTube and Facebook, creating content, working with brands, working with sponsors, being able to support ourselves, invest,
Yep.
and then act for fun when I'm getting the itch again.
Of
I'd rather
course.
be like, I want to act, I want to do
Yeah.
something, not that, oh, I got to do that full time.
And luckily, with the world of social media and YouTube, continuing every day to build that brand of who Freddie Smith is, the acting industry is always going to be there.
Yeah.
And you don't really have to necessarily be in LA, and I can only imagine it's going to continue to be like that as time moves on. I think a lot of people, we've seen so many people, a lot are moving to Austin, Nashville too.
Those two, Austin will be the new LA
I
in
think
5
so.
to 6 years. And I think that'll be interesting because
Yeah.
it's also going to be different. It's going to be just an interesting vibe.
Sure.
Um,
You've never been to Austin.
I have not.
I went years ago, but I loved it. It's been a
It's
while.
got to be really awesome for
It
how many
is.
people are moving there.
Yeah.
There must just be something super special.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll take a trip. That's one of the things that we should go. Next year, just
Hey.
take a trip and really visit a lot of places and see. But yeah, I feel super super blessed for the podcast. I feel super blessed for YouTube and Facebook and social media and creating content because I think my identity has been wrapped up in days for so long, and I think the transition out of that without today's day and age of technology and connecting with the audience that has followed my journey would have there would have been a huge void, because you kind of look back, and I look back on the work and I go, wow, I grew as a person, I grew as an actor. It made a huge positive impact in people's lives to become a power couple of a historical show, to build an audience around the world, and then to make money, to build a career. There was a lot of amazing things.
Yeah.
And then when that stops, if there was no social media, you kind of look back at, I built that and then walked away with very little residual income, residual just like awareness. You know what I mean? In like 1998, if you left and you didn't do
Sure.
anything, it's almost like those 10 years of all these people who've watched and became a fan of my work had nowhere to come see me, and you almost feel like you're just cutting that off. The transition that so many people have followed us over to podcasting, it feels
Very
like I'm
cool.
continuing what I started when I booked that show.
So would you feel that leaving LA and obviously, making this pivot here, that it's kind of been easier because that was your identity for so long? Like that's what you did.
I'm definitely still in it, in the sense that it's because it's still there.
Yeah.
So it definitely is still part of my life, but it's kind of just, I like looking at it as if this is a continuation more than it being
So do you feel it's been an easier pivot to do?
because of social.
That's so interesting.
Because it's really hard if you were to build something, like if somebody worked a job for 15 years, like if you're a school teacher and you work for 15 years and then you want to move into fitness or something, yes, you're going to take a lot of the lessons that you learned, but it's almost like how much of being a teacher transitions over to being a scientist or being probably a lot of that, but I can't find the right example, but what I was doing on days and what we're doing here has so much overlay that it doesn't feel like I just quit acting, shut down social media, and then I'm going to build a landscape company.
Right.
But if I built a landscape company, it would all be online, because that's how you do marketing and branding. So
Yeah.
it seems like it just, everything we learned in LA for 15 years, especially on days of just being in front of the camera, learning how to tell stories, how to connect with people. It is built into when we have conversations with sponsors, when you're doing sales and marketing, because acting is selling yourself as that character.
Yeah.
I have to sell you that I'm upset. I have to sell you that I love you. I have to sell you that I'm making you feel guilty or embarrassed.
Yeah.
So the sales and marketing and branding, creating content and acting and communicating, I just feel so grateful. I hope I articulated this correctly. I'm trying to find the right way, but it's just, I would have felt a huge void, and this would have been a really weird time if that was all cut off and I wasn't able to take that work and continue it.
Sure.
How sad to just go, that's it. I feel like I've taken a huge chunk of that with me, and I didn't stop. I'm now 10 years into that portion. And we started acting. I started seriously acting in August of 2005. I've been doing this for 15 years in front of the camera. And the more you start watching successful people, 15 years, because we started so young, snuck up on me.
Of course.
15 years you and I have been, you've been way longer, on stage, on doing, but just being in front of people and performing and communicating.
But you don't realize all of those little lessons and skills that you have received from doing that for so long, that you pick up. Like even your acting, if you think about your very first episode, compared to like, holy freaking cow. It's just you continue to build your craft each and every day. So everything that you learned, even from being just on camera, to even the businesses that we've built, taking those skills, all of that, to, you know, continuing to let it evolve into what we're doing in podcasting and communicating, which is what podcasting is. It's connecting, you know? And so it's just really interesting that it's all kind of weaved itself into this perfect marriage based on past history. I don't know. It's wild. It's great.
And it's for us too. It's like we have tried so many things and we've taken pieces of everything, but we had been planning this moment since 2014. I never knew if it was going to be real estate, if it was going to be e-commerce. I didn't know, because podcasting I didn't know about in 2014. We talk about if we would have started sooner. I think our headspaces were different. I think the podcast tone would have been different. I think these past 2 years is when we were ready. I think the industry's caught up. Sponsors and companies now are coming to, we're getting hit up more for sponsors than ever before, because businesses are like, this is where attention is. And I actually like it so much better, because the individual, like we make sure we pass on a lot of brands as well, because we want to make sure it's something cool that we fit. But yeah, I like the minute pre-roll ad. I like being able to talk about a product. I think people are used to it. It comes off very authentic and good. When I watch podcasts and they do it, it feels good. It's not like a corny commercial. Those are being faded out. So the transition has been great. And, you know, I just think for us just to get a little stability will be nice. But I also think the adventure is exciting. As a content creator, if you and I just, you know, bought a house tomorrow and stuck the sign sold in the front yard, and then we were just sitting down, it's still, we can talk about interesting things that happen in our life. But I think this next 6 months to 18 months of what we envision, you know, things can always change. But finding a wedding venue, being married, finding a place, getting settled, building the podcast, doing all these other projects that we have in mind is going to be interesting to watch.
Definitely.
And I think that is what's part of our brand, because we don't really, you know, tackle anything. We don't tackle politics, which is like heavy in the news, and you can talk about that every day. But our whole thing is more lifestyle. We're more, hey, we want you to come here and just enjoy a cool conversation that we rarely ever have planned. We might have a few little notes of like, hey, we should cover this today, but everything's off the top of our head. We just have a thoughtful conversation, and we hope to impact you and inspire you, educate, entertain, and just live an interesting life where we try new things and we share those experiences. Because if we end up going kayaking, maybe that'll inspire you to go kayaking, and you might have one of the greatest memories with your family kayaking. It's because you heard of the idea here, or you know, it's just really, really fun. So my whole entire like little, wherever I turned, I don't know what we were talking about, but I'm just grateful that the transition has been much easier, knowing that I feel like I'm still building what I've been building for 15 years.
What's interesting too is we also love having Days guests on, which is also really fun. Like, you're still connected, you know? Yeah. And it's a blast. It's probably some of the most funny, entertaining individuals I've ever talked to.
Everyone's great.
The best.
Yeah. So we're still, I'm still in touch with everybody on the show. We have, well, not every single person, but all the people that I became friendly with.
Sure.
A lot of people I obviously spoke to and were much closer at work, but I still connect with a lot of people, and I'm going to hit up a lot of people and just see how they're doing, because I just know so much about the show and so much about that soap opera genre now that it's really fun to continue to take people on the journey. And even if I'm not on the show, when people are sharing things about the show, I get it, because I played the game. Like I told you, I'm like the Charles Barkley of the commentating on it. So
love it.
So yeah, it's always going to be a huge part, but that was one of the main things, just as you sit here and you realize, oh, I'm in Florida, and things settle. Mm-hmm. These are just some of the things that I've been thinking about.
Well, also, when you really think about it, because of social media, I feel I'm still very connected to life in California or people on the show. Like, you know what's going on because you're watching. It almost makes it a lot easier to transition.
The world's getting smaller and smaller because you can watch it and you see what's going on. You kind of feel like you're there.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, say what you will about social, but even when we lived there, I still was able to keep in touch with a lot of my friends in Florida, and I knew what they were doing, what their life looked like. It wasn't just, oh, hey, a phone call, or hey, a quick text. I actually could watch and see. Even friends with kids, you watch them grow.
Oh, yeah.
You know? It's
well, everyone
crazy.
had kids at once. Like all of our closest people all had kids at once, and it was, but from all over the place. Not like a group decided let's have kids.
Everyone had kids.
Everyone, and we're watching them, and they're all going through a phase where we're like, oh, Ava's at 3 months, but then Julia, like you're kind of watching everybody who's like 3 months, 8 months, 16 months, 22 months, 24 months, and we're like, oh.
But we'll know what to
here's where they are.
expect.
Yeah,
when we have a kid.
Yeah, now they're looking like a human.
Yeah.
Not like a baby, but now they're turning into an actual little person, and that switch. And then they're talking, and so it's really exciting to watch, and I can't wait to be around family more. And so
Do you
we're
know
working
who else
on
is
that.
pregnant?
Who?
Okay, so you know Vanderpump Rules?
Yes.
Stassi, Brittany, and Lala are all pregnant and like about to 6-7 months. And I saw a picture the other day. I go, what?
Oh, wow.
Because just the other day, when it felt like yesterday, we were watching it and it was all this crazy drama. They're all like partying.
That's all done.
Is it?
At least for 9 months. Not the drama, at least the partying.
Stassi wrote, who would have thought, ... we'd all be sober at the same time.
Yeah, that's a good show. I like that one.
It was fun.
We'll have to catch up on some of the reality shows too.
I know.
See what we're gonna watch. We would love to stay and hang with you a little longer, but we have a few things that we have to do today. We're gonna start exploring and get going, and but we will be back here on Monday for a fueled up episode. So stay tuned. We're wishing you all a safe and amazing and fun weekend.
Yes,
enjoy
and
yourself.
Lastly, one last thing. We love being guinea pigs. So if there's anything you guys want us to go try out or see what's going on in Orlando, let us know, because we're down.
We're new and we're down to explore. All right, everyone. Have a great weekend.